We're very excited to have everybody here and join us here at the symposium and to share some of the work that we've been doing. We hope that when you leave here after 2 days, if XR is new to you perhaps, that you walk away with a greater appreciation or understanding of what XR can do, how we're using it here, and some of the use cases at APL and for our sponsors, and maybe how you could use it for your work. But before we get started, I got to do a few things with some housekeeping. So, first thing I want to do is mention the team that's been organizing this event for quite a few months. And the people that you see on the pictures on the screen are really the core individuals that have been behind the scenes and now in front of the scenes, actually putting a lot of the work together. And I can't thank them enough. They work hard, and this isn't something that's really simple to put on if you've ever put on an event of this size or tried to. But they're not just the only ones, right? It begins with like their website that you registered on. So our web designers and our graphics designers have built up much of the artwork that you see in the signages. And of course, our wonderful AV team that are working the events today, both upstairs, our camera people, and both in this room and in the other room that we're doing our presentations in. It takes a lot. It also takes our facilities managing folks at office that helps us find space to hold the events and make sure that we have everything that we need and we're following the guidelines that APL has put in place to use the events. As you notice, this is outside of our security perimeter, and that's why there was no badging to get into the facility. The other folks that I want to mention here is obviously our presenters and our exhibitors. That's what makes the event successful. And I want to talk specifically about that there are some, and I'll show in the agenda in a second, some presentations that you'll hear that have a corresponding exhibit or demonstration later in the day. And so that's really one of the key strengths of this symposium, we feel, is that it gives you an opportunity to get hands-on with what was presented, and you can start experiencing it yourself. And finally, we have a bunch of volunteers, and you met 2 of them at the registration desk. So they happen to be 2 of our interns this summer, Mia and Rihanna out there, and hopefully you had a great experience because they're excellent young ladies helping us out. And we have some other people that are helping us with the food refreshments that are not APL employees, but they're family members and extended, if we would call them our employees, our extended family here at APL. So we want to thank and recognize those individuals too. But please don't hesitate to approach any of us. Those of us that are wearing the yellow lanyards should be able to either answer your question. If we can't answer your question, we'll find someone who can answer your question. Or if you want to talk to somebody about a specific subject, we'll try and get that connection made for you. I also want to thank our vendors that are here today. We have 6 of them that will be in the demonstration rooms just outside of this room. And these companies, some of them provide hardware products that help the XR industry. Some of them are software, some of them do both, some provide services, some do all 3. This is an excellent time for you to go if you haven't had any time to learn about the different advances that are happening in this industry. It's an excellent opportunity to go spend some time. They will be in those rooms all day, not just at the demonstration time, which is 3 to 5 p.m. in the afternoon. So if there's perhaps a break in your schedule and you want to go spend some time with them, maybe it's not as crowded in our demonstration areas, that'd be a great time to go see our vendors and talk and engage with them. Okay, I do need to, I want to point out one thing. Obviously, you've seen over there in the beginning, the Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi is working. If you're having any problems with the Wi-Fi, please go back to the registration desk and we'll find somebody that can help you there. But if you like, as I mentioned, this is outside security perimeter. Feel free, if you got a camera, you want to take a picture of what you see on the screen. If you want to set up the Wi-Fi later, you're more than welcome to use your cameras in this facility. Okay. Same thing with like the agenda. If you didn't pick an agenda up, you could simply just take a picture of it and have it on your phone and be handy for you all day long. Okay, I need to point out a few things about the building, right? Obviously, we're here in room 117. It's the larger auditorium room for this facility. And as you go out these double doors in the back, you pass the two different rooms on each side, one on the left, one on the right. The 120, 122 is set up as our additional speaker room. So we have some talks coming up later that are in parallel with talks happening in this room. So follow on the agenda, you can see them. They're just immediately out on your left. And then if you want to go into the exhibits or demonstration area, that's the room that's immediately on the right. This drawing shows them as 4 rooms. They actually have a divider that's removable, and so they're configured as 2 large rooms for this event. So the entrances, doors, you can go in on either side of those and get into those rooms. If you continue down the hall, you probably recognize this or saw this when you were coming in the restrooms. So the 2 larger restrooms are on the right side, and there's a smaller restroom on the left. And then finally, if you continue to go out and turn to your right, you'll see there's a small cafe that's there and it's available. I might mention this a little later right before the lunch break, but we aren't serving lunch. We do have snacks out there for this time, and they'll be out there throughout the morning, and then we'll refresh those in the afternoon. There are places here to eat on campus that are walkable. Again, there's a small cafe there, but in the building right outside and across the lawn, there's a larger cafe there, and there's a few others that I'll point out later. The Chick-fil-A is walking distance, and some other restaurants that you can easily get there and back here within an hour if you wanted to walk there, assuming you could take the heat. Most importantly on this drawing is all those little red arrows, okay? Those are all the exits, so these are the emergency exits directly off to my side. And if you look on the picture, you'll see even if you're in those other talk rooms or the demos and stuff, they have emergency exits that go immediately to the outdoors as well. So I wanted to point out 1 or 2 things on this. Everybody, if you haven't picked up an agenda yet, again, you can take a picture of it here or out at the registration desk. But if you look down that left side in the room 117 column, I wanted to point out at the very bottom, down at the 3 to 5 p.m., there will be 2 demonstrations set up in this room. They don't have, well, one of them does have a talk associated with it, the other one doesn't. And they will be likely up in this corner, possibly in this corner as well. And they're going to set up and be ready to run at 3 to 5. So if you don't see one that you're looking for on your agenda list, or you saw it, you thought it was going to be in another room, feel free to make sure you walk through here and see those 2 demonstrations. As well as we had to move 1 or 2 demonstrations from the exhibitor room, 106 and 108, into the speaker room to give more room for that. And so it may be listed here, 2 of these presentations that you see in that. If you're looking for them specifically, you might have to go over into the other room. But that just gives us more space to put all the exhibits together and give you the attendees room to not be on top of each other as they're right next to each other. So that's what I wanted to point out about that. APL, first off, if you don't know, we're about 9,000 employees. About 7,000 or so of those employees work within what we call mission areas. And the mission areas are what face our sponsors and do the work for our sponsors. The XRCC team, which you'll get introduced to today, it's the XRCC stands for XR Collaboration Center, is a team of individuals that we created, and we stood this up in COVID, the first week of COVID actually, in 2020. And we're an enterprise resource, okay? And what that means is we're here to serve those missionaries, to help them do the work they need to do for their sponsors. This chart here just kind of shows you the specific types of services that we provide. Things like outreach, education, community engagement. Those are, the reasons why we do the symposium, right? Other activities like the product research, technical research, or advising staff or advising the sponsors, or working on internal research projects or direct funded external sponsor work. Those activities are the genesis for many of the presentations that you're going to hear and see over the next 2 days from our team. Of course, we have presentations from non-APL folks as well, and They're just as important to us as hopefully they are to you as well. So we definitely appreciate the fact that we have people from the external organizations participating as well here at APL in this symposium. I want to just take a minute to say that, give you an idea of how this started. And I haven't shared this story with too many people, but APL has another long tradition, rich tradition of publishing what we call our technical digest. Okay, and our technical digest, I think, has been around since somewhere around 1985, and it covers all different types of topics. Well, back in around 2018, the editor, one of the editors of the digest, approached me and said, "Hey, I noticed you are trying to lead some activities around immersive technology here at the laboratory, and you seem to be one of the people that are kind of leading that effort here. And I saw you down at the University of Maryland when they were hosting their Maverick event back then, and Maverick is there, if you're not familiar with them, that's your mixed augmented reality virtual immersion center that they use." And I said, "Yeah, that's great, yeah, I do." And he says, "Well, how would you like to do a technical digest issue on immersive technology?" And I said, "Well, that sounds interesting. Never done that." He says, "Well, we'd like you to be the guest editor." Okay, what does that mean? After quite a few conversations and stuff, I learned what that meant was you pretty much have to do it all yourself. And there is no funding for this task. And you do this on your own time. And I thought, I'm sitting there thinking, okay, this is like, I'm trying to work my Shark Week thing into here for you Shark Week lovers. Like, I'm talking to the porpoise or the dolphin. They always got that smile on their face, right? Everything, it's like, this thing's not going to hurt me, right? And then it shapeshifts into a great white shark, right? And they bite and they won't let go, right? So it got a hold of me, and I said, "Sure, I'll do this," which meant I had to go collect all the articles, define the articles, go through all the editing, reviewing, and everything. Eventually, it got published. But it got published in I think it was January 2020 or 20, I can't remember. In any case, what I learned from that is, boy, it's a lot of work, but yes, there is interest around here. So then it made me thinking, and no good deed comes undone, and this one I did to myself. I said, we should do a symposium, right? We should gather all these people together, and we should start spreading the word about XR. Well, there was no XRCC team. It was just me, right? Fortunately, I had some experience putting events up like this at APL in the past, actually, for about almost 25 years. And so I had an idea of how to go about doing it. But I had to go collect all of those presentations again and get people to come in and participate. To end this story is that's how the XRCC team came about. Let's just say, for sake of anonymity, their names were Blake and James. And I approached them and convinced them why don't you come join my team? Leave what the cushy job you have and just come on over, we'll have fun and do this stuff. And they accepted that. They transferred over into our department. And then 6 months later, what was going so well, we had 2 more people and maybe their names are Ari and Brandon, right? And they came over and joined us. And we continued to grow. And now we have Wade. And actually, as of this week, we have another new person, Maham. So we're growing. The symposium, we hope you will find interesting and relevant to what you're doing, your own work at your own place of employment. And that's the story how we got here today.